Wild tour stories. So I would probably have to say, I think almost in general, like any wild tour story starts with like the international aspect. I think this one was Cameroon. I was flying to Cameroon, and on the layover from Belgium going into Africa, into Cameroon, the board's playing, it's like a really nice one. And I noticed there's, in the very back row, it's got like the 2-5-2, because it's an international plane. In the very back row, there's what I thought were like just like the troopers, like just the airplane like troopers, officers like sitting in the back. Then I realized there was a person sitting in between them. So it was a trooper, like an African man, and then another trooper, and he was sitting in between. Strange, but what do? All of a sudden, the African man just starts screaming at the top of his lungs, just and then he throws himself against the chair, so then the two officers like wrestling, and then I realized like he's handcuffed, right? So it's all in French and in, there's 250 dialects in Cameroon. So it's all these different like dialects. There's some Germans there's some there. And the two troopers were Belgians, were from Belgium, right? And then it's the African man. So it looks awful, but they're breaking him off. And then like customers, and these are like, if you're familiar with like Africa, like there's no middle class. So like if you're flying, like you're actually doing all right. You know what I'm saying? So like they're going off. We trying to figure out what happens. And there's one man is like going in, like he's yelling at the officers, like going in, right? The person sitting next to me doing the same thing, like just going in, dressed in all linens, because that's how black folks do, right? So he's in the all white linens, right? He going in. And so we try to find out like what's happening, and then finally find out, ask the person, like somebody finally calms down and tells us, so like they're transporting a prisoner, and he's trying to get away. So half of the plane is upset of the treatment of this man, because they was like hemming him up good, right? And then the other half was like, yo, we paid like 1,000 euros to be on a nice flight. You just gonna transport, he's got prisoners on this flight. So half of them were like upset that I paid so much for this flight that you would do this. And the other half is like, man, treat this man right? So now officers like are getting on the plane, these big, burly, like German dudes, like just getting on the plane. And they're looking at anybody that's got a problem with like how this going out. You got a problem, right? The man sitting next to me is like hollering at the dude, and then the dude in front of, and then the guy so the man sitting next to me and the man sitting in front of the guy next to me, like they're all in the cop's ear, right? Yo, the officer grabs the dude in front, hog ties him. You think I'm playing? In the middle of hog ties him, carries him out like with a rope on his hands and on his legs, picks him up like this, carries him out the plane, right? Everybody's screaming, but he's got the dude tied up. And then the other guy that's watching, sitting next to me, is like, you can't do that. Another officer looks him in the face, right? And somehow or another, like he's sitting next to me, right? Somehow or another, grabs the dude. The guy's holding on with all of his might on the seat in front of him, holding on with everything he got, right? But he's wrestling with him. Somehow he's got the dude pinned down like this. And while he's like pinning the dude, he's looking at me. Like, you got something to say? You got something to say? And then somebody finally asks, hey, and then he finally says, are you with them? But he's saying it in German. So we don't know what he's saying. We're like, what? And then he goes, are you with him? But this time it was in French. We still don't know what he's saying. So then somebody in front went, yo, they're American. So like, we're like, what? And then he finally says it in English, are you with them? But he's like moving this dude, and like, part of me is like, okay, I ain't no punk, you know what I'm saying? And like, I feel the same way about your police as I feel about my police, so I ain't gonna drop my eye, but at the same time, you ain't finna find me in no German prison, you feel me? So like, I was like, man, I'm not with these men, like, I don't know them, but I'm gonna lock my eyes in them like, okay, I'm scared, but I'm not scared of you, or at least I don't want you to know I'm scared of you, you know what I'm saying? But no, I'm not with them. So he wrestling dude, finally gets him together, again, hog ties this dude, carries him off the plane. The rest of the German officers are like, basically like, yo, anybody else? Anybody else? They finally go back to the actual prisoner that started the thing, take him out the back end. So the 3 people go off, and as fast as it started, it ended. Everybody just sat down like that didn't happen. And it was a super peaceful flight, and we landed safe, and everything was fine. But Like they immediately stopped. Like that last 10 minutes just didn't happen. It was just like everybody just sat down. You ain't hear nobody talking about it. Everybody just kind of like, yeah, I'll take peanuts. Like, you just tied 3 humans up and carried. It was crazy. It was terrifying.
I'm not a very selfish artist. I don't completely make music just to satisfy my fans, but I don't solely make music for myself either. I found a happy medium of understanding what people want to listen to and what I want them to hear.
You don't understand the realism and the work and the effort and the struggle and the infrastructure that goes into everything. You don't understand the pain and the struggle that makes you into the person that you are. You just want to be that person.
The religious side, the spiritual side of the community, to get back violent, and not guns or fighting, but violent and forceful. Take back with some sort of force and not say, oh, God loves you, although your kid is dead.
I took over. I was just like, well, ain't nobody gonna talk about waves and the inspiration and why better than me. So I started talking. I'm like, yo, I started creating waves. Somebody on the other end of this table starts talking. So I started speaking louder. So I started creating waves. Somebody else starts talking. So I look at my manager. I'm just like, I look at John. I'm like,